Now here's a gun you don't see very often anymore. An M57 Tokarev, this one being produced by Zastava, sometime obviously when the Republic of Yugoslavia still existed. Let's see if I can remember how to get this thing apart. It's been quite a while. Anyways, you might be wondering why I've got it out here. And that's because Zastava Arms USA is bringing these back. So we're soon going to see new production Tokarevs out there. And some people might say, what the heck's a Tokarev? Why would we ever want one? I say they're fun guns in 7.62x25 Tokarev, which is a neat little subgun cartridge. At least that's what was originally created for. That puts out an 85 grain or so round at blazing speeds. You can see takedown here is somewhat reminiscent of 1911s, if I can find the spot where it keys out. Anyways, I have complete videos on this gun from years ago, but I took it out because I wanted some of our newer members, i.e. Burgundy Bomber, to get a chance to shoot one and get an impression of one of these old beater guns, so that when the new ones come out, we're ready for comparison and thoughts. And I could also find out really if there's much interest in seeing these return to market. The Zastava builds them in 9mm as well as 7.62x25, so you don't have to worry about finding an old Soviet subgun cartridge loaded modernly, which, by the way, still does exist. And while we're out shooting this, we decided to do some grouping with both the new production stuff and the old military surplus stuff, which is probably what most of you that have one of these have shot. Not much of a what's for dinner to be had, because there's not that much variety in this caliber out there, but it is a fun thing to shoot. I enjoy the ergonomics of it and the history of it. I think it's a neat piece. I'm going to get that footage in and finish cleaning this guy up, and then talk to you a little bit more about it on the other side. Welcome back to GBGuns. This one's a little bit different. We're out with a very old gun, a 7.62x25 M57 Tokarev, made by Zastava. Burgundy Bomber has joined us again because, have you shot one of these before? Today?
Not prior to today.
Yeah, they're kind of funky. It's a World War II piece with a round originally developed for submachine guns. Very powerful round. Goes through body armor. With velocity alone. Fun gun to shoot. A lot of people don't know much about these unless they're a World War II collector type thing, but you can see the ergonomics are kind of 1911-ish. It looks a little 1911, has a higher capacity with witness windows on both sides of the mag, which is nice. And we're bringing it out because Zastava USA is going to be bringing in fresh ones from Serbia. This one's old and beat up. The bore is a little dark. It's had a little, it's seen some stuff, but we're still going to shoot it, and we'll be shooting it with some old surplus ammo that's kind of nasty, but is very affordable and what a lot of people have shot. And then what some people aren't familiar with is, since this gun is still very prevalent across the world, there actually are hollow points, defensive loads for it. So Burgundy Bomber will be shooting some of the old school nasty milsurp on a group, and then this newer stuff, I'll do the same thing, and then we'll let you all know what we think about it. First up, Burgundy Bomber shooting 5 shots, 7 yards with the old milsurp ammo. Alright, Burgundy Bomber, we played with the Tokarev today. We shot stuff made in the 60s or 70s, probably intended to shoot at NATO forces or Americans like us. And then we shot some PPU. This is also Serbian, from Užice, the same, and in Serbia, same country that made this pistol. Some modern 85 grain hollow point ammo. And we both kind of had similar results. The defensive stuff on the right might have been a little bit tighter, but what I thought was kind of interesting with this, and the barrel is probably shot out. This is an old beater gun, not one of the new ones that Zastava will be having,
right.
But we kind of had the same shooter error experience, etc. But the gun ran. What were your thoughts on it?
Minimal recoil, very comfortable. It was a little bit harder to use the sights, especially when you compare to the sights on newer guns. But overall, I enjoyed shooting it.
Yeah, it's got kind of a 1911-ish feel to it. Very slender with a more vertical grip style to it. The trigger's a little rough, a little gritty, but once you get past that into the break point, it's not bad. I'm looking forward to seeing what the new production ones coming in from Zastava are going to feel like, and I think we should run the same test with those. Shoot some old nasty ammo and shoot some modern ammo, and see how the gun runs.
Absolutely. And can you still get this gun?
The surplus ones are still floating around. The new production ones, Century Arms had imported them for a little while. I think PW Arms in Redmond, Washington is who imported this one. But Zastava Arms USA is supposed to have these in sometime around late spring of 2019.
Great.
So just real quick, I paused because I wanted to show you how dark this bore is in this very old gun that obviously shot a lot of corrosive ammo over the years. I'm okay with that because, as you saw, it still groups just fine. So no cause for concern there. Anyways, ergonomics on it are great. The trigger's a little rough, as to be expected. The trigger on these does come out as its own separate entity. Done it before. I'm trying to remember how that happened. I think I might have to drive a pin out. This one did have the external safety that was a requirement for import. I don't know what the final products of the new batch are going to look like when it comes to that, but could be interesting to see. Cool piece of history, a very, very slim gun. I've heard of not just one, but a couple folks that actually carry these as their EDC because they're affordable, they're reliable, and really, really thin. I mean, it's a thin, thin gun, and it gives you that 1911-like handling as far as controls and all of that. So, cool gun. I'm excited to see them come back into production. I mean, they've always been in production, I suppose, but come back to the US market. And wanted to get the word out and help people understand these things a little bit before that happens and they come back. Trigger comes to a solid wall. Actually, I think this one might have a magazine release safety. There you go. So you can see resets actually not bad for a World War II design, which, as you saw in the slow-mo, you can torch this thing off rather quickly, even with the powerful 7.62x25 round. Fun guns. I'd love to hear stories from y'all on your experiences with these guns, both in Tokarev and in 9mm. I haven't ever shot the 9mm version. I do know that some of them are still floating around. And yeah, that's a really tall rear sight, but if you want to be tactical, you can use that to rack off of just about anything because you have almost a 1/4 inch of space to catch something on a steel sight. Fun gun. Thanks for watching our re-review, if you will, of the M57 from Zastava.